hear the cries? Us crying because we're still reading Fairy Tail. Hello and welcome to the Nen Show Podcast. I am your host, Craftsdwarf, here yet again with my completely disinterested in Fairy Tail co-host, Mathwiz.
I'm sorry. It's not even that I like hate Fairy Tail. It's just I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's like if it was worse, it would be maybe more like, and maybe this Oracion Seis, maybe I don't know. I have some things to say, but it's like, you know, the flaws can make things interesting to discuss. The good things make things interesting to discuss, but when it's in the middle of the road, it's like complete and utter disinterest. There's nothing to say. So, very sad. You had no comments once again, I believe, or did you have any comments to respond to?
I mean, like there are interesting comments in there. Like there's one talking about, you know, our discussion of like Lucy being the point of view character, whereas Natsu's like the protagonist. And there were a couple of interesting comments about that.
Inuyasha was another example I hadn't thought about because I haven't touched it. But go on.
But yeah, there was that. Apparently, where is it? Someone, what is it? I don't know how to pronounce that name. Something Respawn. But like they mentioned it like deuteragonist, if I'm even pronouncing that term correctly. I didn't look up that thing, but apparently that's a thing where it's just like, you know, like a secondary protagonist who also drives the plot forward.
Oh yes, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know it's like Dueter or something like that. Or maybe I'm misspelling it, but it's like something to that effect.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I do remember that word now. I see. I had more comments to respond to as usual. The one that probably struck out to me the most was Hannelore, who commented more about Urza's armor and pointed out that like Urza let down her armor for Jalal as well, and you know, because she wanted to, you know, because you know they had the whole thing, and she got screwed over for it because Jalal was being a piece of shit. So there was like a negative reason to give her like, you know, the plus and minus for the armor. So it's because I was confused because I felt like the series was framing it as like a wholly a negative. But then there's the series, you know, like, yeah, maybe you do need armor. So, and I did kind of figure that out by the end of it. But at the same time, Max Mustermann pointed out that Urza bathed naked with Natsu and Gray as a child and as an adult before Tower of Heaven. Did I say Tower of Paradise earlier?
I have no idea.
Because that's what I was talking about before with the fucking, like me knowing multiple translations and knowing the fan translations because I just have multiple terms stuck in my head, and because that was the fan translation for it before the official one called it Tower of Heaven was Tower of Paradise. So, but anyway, yeah, that would be the example of like the bathing thing would have been a contradiction because there she is being, you know, without her armor and close to the guild and not being like, because in the start of the Tower arc she was kind of nervous, like she was alone in a room and she swapped back to armor because it feels more this feels more comfortable, but that being naked with kids, I don't know, that's a little. And there was the extra chapter where we see all of them as kids with the egg. You remember that one, right?
Yes.
That was because we saw her be like Natsu and Gray being afraid of her again, and I was like, but you know, which is still weird with the description of, I don't know, maybe it was a translation thing with the first description of why Natsu and Gray were afraid of her, where it's like sounds like these one-time incidents, but I don't know, it's still kind of weird to me. Max, in that comment, they also pointed out how arbitrary the S-class distinction was, which like as a hype thing. Yeah, because even at the what happens at the very end of the stretch? Oh yeah, there's double S-class quests, and then there's like decade and century quests. So it's like we're already getting the power scaling of just kind of like the oh yeah, S-class is not that great, but like I didn't mind that like the different guilds sort of had their own standards for what makes an S-class mage, because Fairy Tail is obviously much more like stringent about it because like their S-class mages are super, you know, really strong, whereas Phantom Lords were not particularly strong, you know. So like I don't know. and I think what I had a thought to some effect of like a Phantom Lord, I guess, like, because they're all about sort of power. Like they had the like, yeah, their guys were relatively strong, but not strong in the grand scheme of things. And like even with like the Element 4, they're these this big named group that of guys who, you know, they had like the spell circle and stuff. So it's like it was more like they're almost using the S-Class thing for more window dressing almost, because to make them look more powerful, I guess. And they did think they were actually powerful, but yeah. Other comments. Furfy, FRFFY had some comments on the friendship thing, and I also I like they had one mention about Urza's eye that I liked. Guy G had a mention about like why Mashima reuses the character designs and commented on Final Fantasy, which I remember being an influence to Mashima, because like Final Fantasy has like recurring, you know, named characters and probably some level of just recurrence in because it's a long franchise. Like Sid, the airship mechanic, is has appeared in like most of the games, but you know, different character each time, but reoccurring. So maybe it's something like that. And then I guess there's also like Tezuka's star system, and as far as like manga and anime in general, where he just reuses character designs a lot. Even in the same series, we'll have these two characters who look identical, but they're different characters. So that's an even more extreme example. So I guess it's not completely unknown. I just thought about that now. You responded to a comment in the comment section and didn't bring it up.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to or not, because people seem to get tired of like the discussions of like the sexuality elements, and
which is fair, but what the fuck else are we going to discuss, especially since it's like, I mean, at this point we're trying to just like I'm fine with discussing literally anything especially to get you talking, because you're just like, yeah, it's fairy tale. Like if you want to talk about the sex stuff more, the sexual stuff more, please say something. Even if it is tired at this point, you know, I understand. I don't know. Well, in this case, it was specifically something that I kind of poorly brought up in my tirade, but you got to the point in like one line where I did it poorly in like a part of a video, so that was nice. Because like
I can't wait to go back and rewatch the tirade and see how you handled that then.
Because like my point was like, oh, with Gray, it's supposed to be a joke, but with Lucy, I was trying to make it out from the lens of like comedy, and you know, but I don't remember that point making any sense. Whereas the vulnerability point is much more sound, I think, because you know, Gray strips, like you said, Gray strips himself. He's the one who has power in regards to his like sexuality being presented, you know, and whereas Lucy doesn't as often. Like she tries sometimes, but she more often than not she's the vulnerable one. So, which is the much better point that I don't think I talked about in that video. So, yeah.
I know that this person did end up responding with like, you know, fan service is still fan service either way. But like, see, originally, like if we're talking like 2017 Mathwiz, when I made my Fuka video and was like blah, 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 fan service, maybe I would have agreed with that sentiment. But
yeah,
you know, there are ways that like it can be used as characterization, or like we've also said, like for tone, like you can use it to lighten the mood in a serious scene or whatever. So I think there are ways that like, yeah. I mean, obviously like it can just be there for that, you know, base level, just like the fan service, the titillation, whatever. But obviously like if that just doesn't appeal in the first place, then it's gonna fall flat either way. I don't know. So like, right. I don't know. I think there are ways to like look at it from more than just the base element of, oh, it's just fan service. It's just there for only this reason, and it cannot be seen as anything else.
Yeah, because like I definitely don't care for fan service generally as like, oh look, boobs. Sometimes it happens, but yeah, I'm more interested in what it offers meaning-wise to characterization or whatnot. So you know, I'm willing to give fan service the credit even if I don't care for it. And I guess the thing with the male versus female is obviously I'm going to be noticing the female more as a straight guy, you know? Like, I don't, like, when I see Gray strip his shirt, I don't think fan service for females. I just think, oh, look, muscular man character, you know, Gray, he's doing the thing again. Like, I don't think much of it, I suppose.
No, yeah, that is a fair point to bring up too. And I think, like, originally, like, that was one of kind of the connotations I took away from the comment, was just, like, there is sort of that double standard, like, oh, you know, like bringing up Gray specifically, like, yeah, Gray often like takes off his clothes, and that's the joke. But it's basically like it does the same thing, just from like the different perspective. So I mean, like that's a fair point to bring up, I guess. And like I guess like my response in that comment was basically like I had never brought up Gray, not because he's a guy, but because that's just like generally like he is in control of that.
Yes, the control power thing is definitely different there. So in that, like, if it was exactly the same, where Gray was regularly being stripped by other characters, then it would be fair to call out the bias and only bringing up Lucy, but that isn't the case. Urza, it often dresses, but she's not stripped, so we don't really bring her up that often. So yeah, it's and I can't think of any character who like strips themselves like female characters, so that's not really an issue. But yeah, I we're good. It's fine, I think.
I was gonna say I don't remember if we had like a brief discussion with Monster Soul of the one character who did that.
There was. I forgot.
That was just kind of like part of their characterization, but they were in control of that element. So.
Yeah, like I don't think I had an issue with that as like a fan service like sexuality thing. Like I had an issue with it because it was like a lame gag that only showed up in the like look at all these lame gags sections of like which I just thought it was weird from just like an incorporation issue of just like it didn't emerge organically from like the things happening. It just like for as iffy as the Lucy stripping clothes thing is, it like I don't know, it is forced, but it just like it like the fact that he's like referencing it now, like it is just kind of came about because he like kept making it happen. Whereas like in Monster Soul, he just like made it happen and it just like was there, and it's like what the fuck, why? I don't know. I think I had a point there, but I lost it. I had one more commenter to respond to, Karabe, because he's still doing the counts, which is good, but one thing he asked, he was wondering about, because he sometimes mentioned plot holes, but this one I felt I should respond to because it's easy to slip the mind, I guess. But like he was wondering why Fairy Tail gets looked down upon, and like one of the first things that's established about the guild is they're all fuck ups. Like Natsu destroys villages, and that's still happening. Like what happened at the end of or I'm pretty sure during this reading even like. The team gets together and they destroy half a town again. Like yeah, they succeed in jobs, but they're also just fucking useless. So or destructive rather. And like we've like Elfman was doing a bodyguard mission. He punched a dude. Like all in chapter 2, Loki was hitting on girls. So it's like they're fuck ups still. So it's like it's understandable that they're kind of looked down on, even though they do good work because they're all stupid. And he also had an interesting point about sacrifice where like a lot of the sacrifices are done out of guilt basically, and like especially over it with Gray where it's like in trying to sacrifice himself he's kind of running away and not living with that guilt. And it also kind of applies to like Simon and Urza in Tower of Heaven, and I think guilt comes up again in this reading, so we'll talk about that later. I think I'm remembering correctly.
You had mentioned the counters going on, but where's the Mashima references himself counter? I'm disappointed because I'm here picking up all these references that are going down, and nobody's counting them. I'm not even counting them. I'm a failure myself. I failed myself.
Yes, that is. We are all failures for not because yeah, the self-referential thing is like. That's pretty unique to Mashima as far as manga we've read so far. I mean, like, it's probably part of it because he has a much wider, like, mangography of, like, different series, where it's like Kishimoto has Naruto, he has, like, 1 or 2 one-shots, and now he's doing Samurai 8. Kubo had, like, Zombie Powder, but didn't reference it at all. Oda had a few one-shots, but he only referenced monsters with Ryuma. But with Mashima, he has, like... He's on his 3rd ongoing serialization, and he has I think he has more one shots than the other. Yeah, because he has like 2 volumes of one shots so that's twice as many or twice as long as Oda and stuff. So there's more stuff to be self-referential for. So yeah. And there was one you caught that I didn't notice at all. I've never noticed at all.
Yeah,
so.
Mashima does have some clever ways of integrating those references and like making it sort of like diegetic, if that's even the word I'm looking for. Like it fits in the context of Fairy Tail without feeling like, oh, that's just there for the reference.
Yeah, and it's also like and yeah, it's not like look at this Rave Master reference. Like, I mean, with Plu it kind of was, but even then, that whole scene was there to introduce the celestial spirits and explain the rules and how they work, kind of. So it's like, yeah, obviously, like the joke is, he's a Rave Master character, or he's Plu, but like and that's probably the most overt one, but it still has a purpose within Fairy Tail. And the other reference, like the Monster Soul one from this reading, I never noticed that until you pointed it out to me. Like, I read through this chapter having read Monster Soul twice, and I still didn't go, oh, look, Monster Soul. So,
basically, it's jumping ahead in the plot to explain the reference now, but since it's topical, the one character who has, like, those possession puppet things, like, how many characters were there? Were there 5 from Monster Soul, I think? And they were they were the weapons that they were fighting against. I think it was Lucy and Loki.
Well, because he Gray froze his, or no, I think it was fighting against Gray, or maybe because Gray froze his original barrel-shaped dolls, and then they were in a toy store, and he used a bunch of like action figures that were the Monster Soul characters, and I've never noticed that.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, let us finally get to the reading itself. So after the last arc, the tower, they go back to Fairy Tail. The guild is rebuilt. It's all cool looking, and there's the thing I mentioned last time where there's the Lucy action figure that loses its clothes because Mashima self-references himself even in his own series.
I did think it was funny in the little after panel where like she's just in the background like holding this this like doll thing, and she's like, oh no, we need to get you some clothes.
Trying to put like yes, she's angsting about her own like gag, I guess. And then anyway, like right after that we get like 2 things we also talked about last chapter, where I wonder if more members are going to join Fairy Tail, and I wonder if Gajeel is going to come back. So Juvia joins the guild for real, and so does Gajeel, just out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. Now we're starting to get like in these 2 arcs that we covered, like we're starting to get more of those like characters who are actively participating in an arc are now starting to come on to Fairy Tail. So that's cool. They're joining the guild. Yes.
And we also get our Fairy Tail's Vegeta character, because gotta have the angry rival dude. So
although the hairstyle is more reminiscent of Raditz, personally.
Yes, that is true. But I think that came up last time too, and now here I didn't say anything, or I tried not to, but there he is. But yeah, there's like a little bit where Lucy's like, it's a nice new guild, but something feels wrong. And then of course like, the main character's up here, so it goes back to its wild dog shit parties of like mass destruction, and it's like, yep, that's Fairy Tail, it's home. And of course there's a part where Urza's like eating cake and gets bumped into in the cake like top 10 anime deaths. So that I liked, because Urza's good. And after that there's a chapter with a reporter who's bumming around and getting interviews and stuff. That was a chapter.
We got to see Gajeel dress up in a suit and a fancy hat and play the guitar and sing. That was the biggest contribution from that chapter.
Yep. Which is funny, because now I think about it, we also had, like last time with Rave, we had the quote-unquote Vegeta character Shuda, who also had like a musical art interest in dancing. So not that we actually saw him do it on screen, like Gajeel is like, he's trying to fit in, he's an idiot. So that was something I just realized right now. Okay, so now we start to get into, because this was obviously out of the 2 arcs, the Fairy Festival is definitely my favorite of the 2. I'm not sure how I liked it in the grand scheme of arcs, but it was decent, I suppose. But yeah, here's a scene where Gajeel, he goes off to do a mission, and Jet and Droy are pissed off from the whole crucifixion thing, and they start beating the shit out of Gajeel, and Laxus comes in. Did you have any thoughts about this? Because I want to mention something more specific regards to YouTube about this scene.
I mean, I don't know. Thought it was cool characterization
Yeah.
for Gajeel, because like he gets beaten up and doesn't fight back, and yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Best Guy Ever's first fairy tale video during Me and Mathwiz? Probably.
I'm pretty sure I watched it. I remember nothing from it.
Exactly. Yes, which is fair. Oh, except he danced for like 14 minutes uncut in the corner of the video, which was great.
Yes.
But he actually specifically brought up the crucifixion and was like, "Why didn't this ever get brought up again? Oh, Gajeel and Levi, oh, they're just fine together now, cause and like here it is being brought up in the story itself, like." Because I would say this goes, a ways in like redeeming Gajeel as far as certain things. Because I want to bring, because yeah, this I thought this was fine. Like they fight him, and then he gets beaten up. Gajeel gets zapped by Laxus, and this kind of whole thing, like it sets off an entire arc. And like this is why I try to reread things before I make videos on them, because details are easy to forget in long running things. Like it's not that I blame Best Guy too much. Like he didn't do his research, but he also hadn't probably read these chapters since they first came out. So yeah, like I just want to bring that up because I thought about that while reading it. And the thing that he could have brought up that wasn't brought up. So yeah, like Gajeel crucifying Levi and stuff was bad, and they brought that up. What about Gajeel throwing knives at Lucy? Like, she was tied up after they captured her again, and he was throwing knives at her. And, like, that doesn't get brought up. That's kind of... See, that's basically, like, what Best Guy was trying to complain about, but not. So it's, like... That's... Because that went unaddressed, even though that was kind of shitty. Like, instead, like, of actually, like, apologizing for that or anything, he's like, hey, dance, bunny girl. Like, okay.
Oh, no.
Mashima forgot.
Craftsdwarf giveth,
bugged me
Craftsdwarf take... I can't even... I'm getting all the syllables mixed up. Craftsdwarf giveth, Craftsdwarf taketh away. There we go, I said it right that time.
Yes, because that's fair. But yeah, I thought that was something I noticed, and because when I was reading Phantom Lord, I saw that scene and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Why don't I remember this at all? And why doesn't this come up again when it's Gajeel? Because like Juvia, like she did like nearly drown Lucy and knock her out to capture her, but like, that was more like I don't know. That wasn't as bad comparatively as like Lucy was already captured and Gajeel's just tormenting her for the sake of it. Like that's a bit beyond the mission.
There was also like at least like Lucy had a chance to like team up with Juvia in a fight in the previous arc. So like she had kind of a moment to like reconcile their differences.
We're cool now.
Yeah.
Yes. Like we were enemies before, but we're cool now. With Gajeel, again, it's only him mocking her basically. So that's a little like, stop bullying Lucy, Mashima. She's a good girl. And speaking of that, like, because there's the scene of, like, this repeated scene of, like, Lucy, like, walking on the riverside, like, curb, kind of, and then there's always, like, the boat guys who are, like, hey, that's dangerous, don't do that. And, like, I like how they, like, gradually come to, like, they know her, like, because in this one I'm looking at right after the Laxus at the zapping Gajeel scene, they're like, hey, didn't I see that girl in the magazine somewhere? Because of the article that just came out. And then like later on after the Fairy Festival arc, they know her name and they're like saying like, hey, that's dangerous. Like the little dialogue changes, and I just think that's a really cute detail.
There's character progression in the little throwaway panels.
Yes, and it's just a cute little like arc, I guess you could say, of just how guys gradually come to like recognize Lucy, and like they're just these dudes who are fearing like hoping she doesn't fall in, and I don't know, it's just a cute little detail. I like it. I think I've always liked it. I just never mentioned.
I can't
it
wait for the end of Fairy Tale when Lucy finally falls into the lake or whatever, and then the setup and the payoff.
We told you. Yep.
One as far as like story goes, I thought it was kind of interesting. Like I don't want to say like, oh, Mashima once again saying that like he came up with an arc sort of at the maybe not the last minute, because he did say later on that like, oh, when he says he doesn't know what he's talking about, he actually means like he has many like potential future paths to go down. It's a choose your own adventure. I don't know why I said that, but he has to pick which one to do. So like he said that he sort of like came up with this Laxus arc. Maybe not at the last minute, but like right before it happened. So I thought it was kind of cool. Because right before we get into that, you do see this like mysterious hooded figure, and then he kind of like doesn't show up again for the next 30 or so chapters, and then he's there again, and then that kind of jumps into the next arc. Well, not even really an arc. It was more like just a one-off chapter, I guess.
Thing, yeah.
But Lucy's father being there. I don't know. I thought it lent more to like recently I feel like I've been being watched, and so like it happened twice. Like the guy was there.
Yes. Right. So that was good. And it's funny that he got kind of just like the Lexus arc just kind of happened, because I thought it was like it worked like with how it like was built into and stuff. Like with Gajeel joins, and then you have this like naturally organic scene of him with Jet and Droy, who are not happy with him, and then that leads to Laxus being pissed, which leads to the whole arc happening. Like it all feels supernatural. Whereas like Oracion Seis, it's like, oh yeah, there were other dark guilds, and we have this mission. You guys are going out on the mission, and then everything important happens, and a bit less organic, I guess you could say. I don't know, and Oracion Seis was a fucking mess, but we'll get to that. In some ways, it wasn't like as bad as I like, because I said before, that was the arc that broke the high schooler me and made me realize Fairy Tail was not good. But it's my least favorite arc at the moment right now. So very sad. But anyway, we get introduced to the Raijin tribe, the freed Evergreen and Bixlow, Laxus's lackeys, Laxies. Sorry, I did a Mathwiz pun. I'm sorry. Also we get a few flashbacks with like young Laxus also, to sort of characterize how he changed a bit, like as from a kid to a adult.
The only thing that I was maybe like a little uncertain of was when like this Raijin tribe showed up. Like where do they fit into the power scaling of the guild? Because we had known that like Urza and Laxus and Mystagon and Guildarts, they were like the top, like they were the only ones who could go to the second floor at first, and then whoa, here are these three characters who have been in the guild the whole time that we never heard of. But I don't know, like they weren't like, they were taken out by lesser people, so maybe they weren't meant to be that. I don't know.
I mean, I'd say they're roughly around the level of the quote unquote A class, like almost basically S class, like because like Evergreen gets taken out by Urza. That's not a mark against her at all. Mm-hmm. Bixel got taken down by Lucy and Loki. And Loki is pretty, he's one of the notable ones, like Elfman or Gray or Natsu, and Freed got taken out by Mira Jane, who's also S-class. So yeah, I'd say they're decently strong. They're not actual S-class mages.
So in the Fairy Tail tier list, they're close to S, but not quite S. They're more like the upper echelon of the A tier.
Like along with most of the major guild members, so yeah, that seems reasonable. But anyway, the Miss Fairy Tail contest happens. There's cute girls, and then Evergreen turns them all to stone, and to start the hostage situation. See, there's one like personal issue I have with like the arc. I'm still trying to decide.
And it's got to be the part where Mashima breaks the fourth wall and has the readers decide the winner, right? You're the winner of the Miss Fairy Tail competition.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that was it. You got me there. I guess there was a popularity poll, wasn't there, in a sense? But anyway, so yeah, the festival, the fighting festival, Battle of Fairy Tail starts, and everyone goes out to fight. Makarov gets stopped by the barrier, as do Natsu and Gajeel, which is an interesting bit of foreshadowing for something I obviously can't talk about. But like, yes, this does come up. It doesn't explicitly get mentioned again, but there is a perfectly reasonable explanation that that I honestly didn't realize until this reading. Like, I always assumed it was something else, but now I'm like, oh, that's what it is.
Did you rant about it in the tirade? You were like, this doesn't make any sense. Why did they...
No, actually, this is like one of the most... Well, maybe there was something later that's kind of weird that I thought was related to this, but also, I don't... We'll talk about it later. Just remember, like, Natsu's apparently over 80 years old or a stone statue, so...
I was going to say, don't answer me, but I do have a guess. My guess is that it has something to do with, like... He has some sort of dragon connection, and I'm like, animals have different years, so, like, is Natsu a dragon or something? Like, are the dragon hunters actually dragons or something?
I heard a theory akin to that. Like, well, because if, like, you know, it's a fantasy thing, there's, like elves can be 200 years old or whatever, so maybe, but maybe not. I'm not saying it's yes or no, I'm saying that's something I thought of also for a similar, like, you know, and that was my logic, because I was into Dungeons & Dragons at the time, so...
Was Natsu frozen in a block of ice for 80 years? But unlike anyway. He survived. Oh wait, no, was the... never
Buggy
mind.
Survived. No, that's... I see what you're saying now. But yeah, anyway, everyone goes out, they get caught in Freed's traps, and fight each other. And the guild basically gets destroyed. Like, even some of the, like, top, like, pretty much, like, yeah, all the top players get right. Like, Gray got, like, super fucked because he got hit by a trap that, oh, you can't use magic. And, yeah, and, so that sucked for him. Because I'm guessing the implication is, like, he would have at least done better, if not outright won, except for the, no magic thing.
Yeah, because he got hit with those, like, puppet bomb things, and then he still was able to, like, run up a wall and punch the guy before passing out. So
even without his magic, he still, like, fucking managed to deck Pixel in the fucking face. So it's like, he did about as well as he could. Like, you know, Mashima made sure to make Gray look cool, even though he had to get, like, defeated for because, make things look the bleakest and then have Urza save the day. Because that's what she does. She gets out of the stone, she defeats Evergreen and frees the other girls. The other girls are able to basically go win the rest of the battles. So, yeah. Oh, and I will say I got kind of hyped when the count, like, Urza wakes up and the count goes up, and then the count goes up one more time, and it's like, oh, Mystagon's here. Like, I was like, oh, I don't know, something about that. Like, I don't know.
Mystagon showing up is pretty hype, because, like, oh, here's another one of the mystery characters, and they showed up.
Right, like, oh boy, one of the Fairy Tail's S-class mages is showing up, and it's like, yeah, that's it. Like, I don't remember, how far in Seven Deadly Sins did you get? I
like 5 episodes, and then I dropped it.
That's fair. I was gonna mention something because a character called King Arthur showed up, and he had, like, no hype or no build up whatsoever, or maybe there was more than I remember. Or no, there he was mentioned. But when he showed up, I got really hyped, even though he hadn't done anything. Like, there was like, compared to Mystagon, who was like, oh yeah, he's S-class, he's supposed to be strong. I don't know, new characters showing up who are supposed to be, like, notable. It's cool. I don't think I have anything to say about the Urza Evergreen fight. Urza's so fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm scrolling through and there's the bit where she wields swords with her feet.
Yeah.
And deflects. It's so over the top. And then, of course, I also like the bluff and Evergreen's, like, sweating reaction, like her fucking stupid face when Urza's like, oh, you value victory over your life. I respect that, and I'm going to respect that by taking your life. And Evergreen's like, excuse me. And that was good. And Urza still gets a cool moment later. I kind of like how Urza, like, yeah, she gets her one fight, and then everyone else gets a spotlight. It's, you know, she just had her whole arc. You know, she doesn't need to take more time by having a fight with Laxus, because that's the thing. Urza's really fucking strong. She fought toe-to-toe with Jose while being weakened, you know? Like, so yeah, like, could she beat Laxus? I have no idea. The lightning armor would help, but, it'd be, yeah, it's Urza, that's the thing. She doesn't lose. What did you think about Makarov just getting a heart attack?
It's Makarov's selective age ing. I don't know.
Right? Like, because obviously he needed to not be in the conflict so the other characters can do stuff. And I do like how it like turned out, because it's like I brought this up in the tirade because I had issues with it. Now I'm kind of more on the fence, because it's like, Laxus didn't actually want to hurt someone. He was trying to like use the hostage situation because he wanted to fight Makarov. He wanted to surpass his grandfather, which is like his whole like motivation, and which I'll talk about later because I thought it was an interesting twist on the familial themes thing, or an interesting iteration rather. So it's like, because like Natsu's excuse for Laxus was like, oh, we fight in the guild all the time. Like, how does the arc start? Like, which the second chapter or the first chapter, everyone's fighting again, and here Laxus is taking it out on innocents. But like, when it was about to go off, he was like worried. Like, he didn't want to hurt the innocents, but he's like, he did it because he wanted to fight. He was trying to lure Makarov into fighting, and then, but ironically, in doing that, he like Makarov like had a fucking heart attack because so it was kind of dumb. But and like it's even dumber when like later on the healer lady's like, Makarov doesn't have much time left, but then like she's like, I healed him. Like, what? Like they did the drama with, oh my god, Makarov might die, but at the same time he was in the hands of the healer, so it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, I thought at the very least, like, this might it might still, like, I don't know, I just thought there might be more immediate, like, oh, we need to figure out what's going on with Fairy Tail, who's gonna succeed Makarov, but he's just kind of back to normal for now. So it's fine.
No, Makarov's handling is pretty weird overall. Though there are aspects to this arc I like with him, but the heart attack, the random heart attack is just kind of funny because he's like, gotta write Makarov out, a heart attack. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. But anyway, Levi is able to like, she's a smarty book girl, so she's able to undo Freed's Jutsu Shiki, so Natsu and Gajeel can get out. Did you have any thoughts on Lucy versus Bixlo, or Lucy and Loki versus Bixlo, rather? Do I have any thoughts on it?
It was a fight, and Lucy and Loki have good trust, but I don't know. I don't think I had much of a takeaway, besides the Monster Soul reference.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. The Monster Soul reference was during this part, not with Gray. With Gray, he used mannequins. As I was going through, I noticed. But yeah, this was the Monster Soul reference, so... I think I said otherwise earlier. I mean, one thing I noticed is that, like, because here's where Lucy says that, like, oh, I'm a celestial, spirit mage who fights with her spirits. And I shat on that in the tirade, but, like, not only have I realized, like, oh no, she's been fighting more, but even in this fight, she's attacking Bixel multiple times. Like, are they majorly effectual attacks? I don't know, but because she's a pretty normal mage with like a whip. But like, in the end, it's a team up. She holds him down while Loki does the finishing blow. So it's like, it's very much a team fight, and I appreciate, like, it's not like she just sat back and let Loki do things. And I didn't give her that credit in my videos, so like, fuck, past me, I guess. But yeah, that's that. It's a fight. If they fought, they did the fight things. I took a little bit more from the next one though, because like there's a couple things going on. Because like first, Juvia and Kana get trapped in one of Freed's traps, and Juvia kind of sacrifices herself for the guild, and Kana gets pissed, but she's unable to do much against Freed either. And then Mira comes in, and Elfman, and I don't know. What did you think? It was a whole thing. What did you think about that?
I'm not really sure what to think about Mira Jane, because I don't remember what like the conditions of her power was, because I know she was like she used to be like this really powerful mage or whatever, but for whatever reason she wasn't anymore. But I don't remember if they ever said like she couldn't use her powers because she uses them here.
Like what kind of happened was like
it was more like, my brother is going to die, and it was like the thing that like set her off. So I don't know, maybe there was like a mental block that was like stopping her.
It's basically the same thing that happened with Elfman in Phantom Lord, where Mira Jane was in danger, so Elfman was able to like master the full body control and overcome his trauma. And here Mira Jane was kind of just doing this, she didn't want to lose another sibling. So she overcame that, and she used her magic again. Though I guess like what I thought was interesting about specifically how it ended is because like shit, I wrote it down. Let me reread it. That was it. Because like at the end of the fight, she like she just beat the fucking shit out of Freed, but she obviously didn't like she pulled her last punch, because she'd already won, and she reached out a hand instead, like she accepted him into the guild. So like as far as the family thing goes, like yeah, Elfman is her brother, like her blood brother, and she so that was part of why like she lost her shit so hard. But at the same, Freed is also a guild member. She's he's also a guild brother in a sense. So she's like still accepted him and like pointed out like you joined a guild because you were lonely. So and he was like expressing shame about like helping Laxus, because he was closer to Laxus. So I don't know. I thought it was neat. Because I think I gave shit for Fairy Tail for paying too much attention to the blood, but then like no, fucking pay attention, past Craftsdwarf, you dumb bitch. So yeah, I thought it was fine. But anyway, oh, and there was a little bit in there, I guess foreshadowing for something we found out more of later, was Gajeel, the double agent. He's like, he was in contact with he was like talking to a paper thing, which turned out to be Ivan, who's Makarov's son and Laxus's dad, but it turns out he's actually a triple agent. So yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, that was an interesting little reveal at the end.
Raventail. Raventail. We'll get to them.
Oh no.
We'll get to
I was
them.
gonna say I saw that on the little graph that had been, or not graph,
Yes.
whatever the heck it was, the map.
Yes, of the Dark Guilds.
And I was like, that probably won't matter. Wink. It'll be back.
Oh god. So anyway, more fighting. Because what is an arc about like the Fighting Fairy Festival? Like what are we gonna get except for fighting, right? Oh no, I was about to go to the Mystagon bit, but there's another flashback, and so where we see Laxus, he's pissed off about like he's the master's grandkid. He's not like, well, and this is what I thought was interesting about like it from like a familial aspect, because it's like here you have this blood relation within the guild, and like, but he's he's not like he's just another guild member, like, because he's out acting like he has like he's saying I want I'm the grandson, so therefore I should be the next guild master. But obviously it's a guild. It's not, the blood isn't supposed to matter. But Laxus is only recognized because of his blood, which is why he wants to surpass Makarov and be his own man, basically. And so it's like the fact that he's blood related is hindering him from being like a fully fledged guild member in a sense, because he's not a Fairy Tail, like the special exception is being taken for him because he's not just a Fairy Tail guild member, he's also the grandson of the master. And like Mira is able to sort of like look past that to a degree, but like Laxus is like, I guess you could see it's like a Sasuke Itachi kind of thing in one regard. But shit, I had another thought. Did you have anything to say? Because I need to check my notes again. Oh, that was it. Like, so I guess for compare, like it's kind of like it's like an inverse situation with an adopted child. Like you watched some of JoJo, and it's very early, so I won't mention it too much. But like, I there was a pretty interesting character analysis of Dio, and like one thing that the post pointed out was that like, yeah, he was adopted into the Joestar family at the start of the series, but like he was like George, the dad, was always like, you're just like family, Dio. Like he kept mentioning, like he kept trying to be inclusive to Dio, but the fact that he like kept mentioning it, like it also distanced Dio from the family, because it just pointed out that he wasn't part of the family. Like he scolded Jonathan, but he was kind to Dio. He was treating the other one differently. And so here you have Laxus, he's like sort of struggling with like the inverse of that, where he's the blood relation in a family full of adoptees, so to speak. So I just thought it was an interesting take on the familial thing, because it's like it's coming at it from an inverse angle, so to speak, with and I just thought that kind of aspect of it was interesting.
Yeah, Yeah, that's more interesting than anything I would have had to say about it.
I'm sorry. But anyway, one day you'll be interested in Fairy Tail, but hopefully, I don't know. You don't have to be interested in Fairy Tail. It's probably for the best that you aren't. So anyway, Laxus fights with Mistogon. You had a thought about this, at least, a reaction, so to speak. Everyone is Jalal.
I'm having PTSD over here. There's too many Siegs. I think I'm done with it. Like the Mashima self-references thing, I've gotten over that. It's fine. But specifically all the Sieg stuff is like I've had enough. This is too many. We've had too many reveals. So there are multiple Siegs, but actually they're the same person. But actually there's another Sieg.
Oh god, it's so fun. I just find it like the reaction is great. I keep going. No, it's because it's because last time when you were doing the Tower of Heaven reading, you were like, oh my god, there's two Siegs. Like you were joking. You posted Sieg and Jalal, and I was just like in my head I was just laughing because you didn't know. You didn't know there was actually literally two Siegs like. Because those are technically the same person, or three Siegs, however you want to count it. So, oh god, it's so because this reveal basically had the meme of everyone is Jalal, where it's just like how many other characters are going to be revealed to have been Jalal? Because Seagrain, Mistogon, like how many Jalals are there gonna be? So it's a dumb meme. Like, I guess how it like that. Someone photoshopped the 2-page spread of the Fairy Tail Guild kicking out the Phantom Lord's door, so that everyone's face was Jalal's face.
Oh god.
Everyone is Jalal. We are Jalal. So instead of like we are Fairy Tail, it was we are Jalal. It's just like I don't know why this became a meme, but it's the best meme I remember from the Fairy Tail community. Specifically from 4chan, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember if maybe it came from somewhere else, but that's where I mostly remember it from.
It was also there was like an extra layer to it because like Mistogon that had this like cool looking character design all in this mask and cloak, and under the mask it's just Sieg, and I'm like, god damn it, Mashima.
But yeah, he gets unmasked and he basically leaves immediately because like, sorry, didn't want you to find out this way. Bye. I know, or I think he says like, oh, I know who Jalal is, but I am not Jalal, and then he leaves. But anyway, Urza goes to destroy the Thunder Palace, and Natsu fights Laxus a bit, and Gajeel ends up coming in for the help because Natsu's obviously out of his depth. Did you have any thoughts on the Thunder Palace takedown scene? Because there was something about it I liked with all the guilds sort of working together to blow up the bombs.
Yeah, they did that.
Yeah, I just like the interactions because like they were like because it's like Natsu said, like they fight all the time and they were like angry with each other, like, oh, you beat me, what the fuck, man, like because they were all trying to do the same thing. But now it's like, well, see, but then it turned that like anger and kind of competitiveness that they have that has them fighting turns into like, oh, I'll destroy more Thunder Palace orbs than you. So it turns the competitiveness into like a positive, so to speak. And I was like, that's neat, I guess. And I guess if you want to power scale, Urza destroyed 200 spears, Grey destroyed 4. Therefore, Urza is 50 times stronger than Grey.
Well, I thought there were 200 total, and she destroyed 100.
I think there were 3. It's maybe there's a panel with all the counts of how many spears were destroyed by who. Maybe I thought there were 300, give or take, and Urza destroyed 200.
Oh, so I thought she destroyed half, but it doesn't matter.
Urza's strong. I mean, I guess her magic was also like more suited for it. It's fine. I just Urza scaling. Urza's too strong. Oh, and I guess like I guess you also have an aspect to it because like Urza was ready to like destroy all of them and potentially die. Like Laxus was said, like if you take all of it, you'll die, and she's like, yeah, but the town will be saved. But then because the Fairy Tale Guild helped, she didn't have to take all that burden on herself alone. So that was a little thing. Yeah. Friendship. But anyway, you get the Laxus fight. It turns out he is a Dragon Slayer too. But not quite also, like we found out later, because Cobra is also sort of like they use like a lacrima to gain the dragon powers, so they're a different type of Dragon Slayer.
Now I feel like we're starting to get to the point where like, oh, all the significant enemies are Dragon Slayers. Like maybe it doesn't continue beyond the Oracion Seis, but like this sort of like set a precedent where like the next arc there were like 2 new Dragon Slayers introduced after Laxus.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we do learn a little more about.
That's right. Wendy too.
Yeah.
I forgot about Wendy.
But we also find out that there's different types of Dragon Slayers.
Yes. But anyway, the fight happens. Laxus uses Fairy Law. It doesn't work because he still sees the guild. And this is kind of the part where I'm like kind of iffy, because it's like, I guess I don't know what Laxus, like, he used to like the guild, and now he's like angry about it because he sees them as weak, even though they're the strongest guild in the country. And then like, I don't know, I guess I'm just not specifically sure what he's supposed to like about Fairy Tail. Like, because I guess like, you know, he liked it as a kid and then he grew up, so is that supposed to be part of it? But like, I don't know. Is it like, because there's obviously the personal issues he had with it, because he, you know, and now he's been exiled to sort of sort his shit out. I don't know. I'll have to think on it more, I guess. I thought I wrote something down, but oh, there was an interesting little interaction where it's like they're talking about how strong Laxus is, and Gajeel, the one from Phantom Lord, mentions that like, oh yeah, I guess he is Makarov's grandson. Like he's the one specifying the blood ties, not like a Fairy Tail member, a normal Fairy Tail member. And Phantom Lord was the group that went after Lucy because of Heartphilia and stuff. So like, I don't know. So there's a bit slightly more attention to blood over there, I guess, is what I realized. But yeah, they team up, and like Gajeel takes a lightning hit from Laxus, so Natsu can win the day in teamwork and friendship, I guess. I don't know, do you have any final thoughts on the main section of the arc overall? I ask knowing full well you probably don't have much to say. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, a fight happened, and I don't know.
There was the side chapter with the egg, and I mentioned earlier, and all the doofuses as kids.
Oh yeah, that was a fun little chapter.
Yeah, it was cute.
But the egg was happy.
The egg was happy. Yes. A cat with wings. That's weird. And everyone's like, whatever. It's a cat.
Oh, we also got to see in that little chapter, we saw the sibling who's, I think, dead now. Like, that was Mira Jane's.
Yes, Lisana, right. That she was the one who turned into the crane to warm the egg, and she was alone with Natsu. And yes, that is the one who got killed later, yeah. So anyway, the fighting is over. Yeah, Natsu and Gajeel, like, they're not like, oh yeah, we're stronger than Laxus. No, they recognize that he's powerful. And Makarov and Laxus have a bit of a chat. And they, Laxus gets kicked out of the guild. Like I said, because it's kind of like, because, you know, they're, like, Makarov's crying, Laxus has a smile on his face, like, they're kind of, you know, they're parting ways, but, you know, like, as we see with the L symbol later, like, what did it say it represents? Like, oh, proof that I'll always be looking out for you, you know? So it's like he's still a guild member in spirit, even if he's being exiled. So, you know, or he's still part of the quote-unquote family, I guess is what, you know.
See, I'd almost wondered, and I mean, it's still possible that it could happen later in the story. You would obviously know, I wouldn't. But, like, when Laxus, like, got banished, I almost wondered if he was just going to, like, rejoin immediately. It's like, okay, now I'm getting in the guild, not as... No, but, like, because before he was kind of just in the guild. he was just kind of in the guild because he was the grandson, whereas like if he had left and like rejoined, he'd be like, okay, like you said, starting from ground zero, I am just Laxus, I'm no longer the grandson. But no, instead he went off to be more like, right. Get out of his grandfather's shadow and be his own person. But I still feel like he'll probably come back at some point. Like that seems like it would work with his arc. Even if like he came back, whether he joins Fairy Tail again or not, I feel like it would work either way.
Mm-hmm. And what was I going to say? It was, because you made me remember something I did have a thought of in the arc. Because, he was kind of born into the guild. Like, he never had the, like, he could have joined another guild, I suppose. But, like, he fell in love with Fairy Tail pretty early. So, of course, he would just join it and not, like, question anything. And then as he grew up, like, I guess the rose-colored lenses and he saw problems, like, again, like him not being recognized. Like, why did his dad get kicked out of the guild? Which is, I guess that's also kind of Laxus's contradiction, because he's like, why did Dad get kicked out? But also, like, apparently even Ivan was a piece of shit, and, like, Makaro even says, like, the blood ties don't matter, but Laxus is, like, he's he wants to surpass those blood ties, so he's kind of, like, it's a bit of both, like, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, just wondering, so when everyone held up the L shape, Did you go Alabasta or no?
No, I didn't. But now that you mention it, like I can.
So, okay, I'm glad that you didn't. So, because it's like for me, it's like just like a wordless kind of like symbol sent to a departed quote unquote family member who's like there's definitely like some similarity there. So but I'm actually kind of surprised that you didn't make the connection right away, especially because you did like that part of One Piece a lot. So, but now that it's in your head, you're never gonna forget.
Yeah, I'll go back to it and I'll just immediately be like, hey.
Yeah, because this is one of those moments that people say, like, point at and say, look, Fairy Tail ripped off One Piece. And even though, as we discussed, it was Oda who ripped off Mashima, like, is taking inspiration from the Mermaid Peril arc for Fishman Island, right? But I don't, like I said before, I don't care about influence. Like, I obviously don't care for this scene as much as the Alabasta one, but I'm not gonna go like point at it, go like screech rip off. I don't care. Does it work on its own context? And I would say they gave us enough context that it does. It's fine. Like they literally explain why they give this symbol. Like I could say I don't care for Laxus as much as Vivi or whatever, but that doesn't matter. It works in its own context. So anyway, and that's about the end of the arc. Oh wow, they dropped the like as soon as they reveal like that Gajeel is working for Ivan, they like immediately he comes back to the guild and he's like, I found out where your son is. I'm actually a triple agent. I'm not actually a traitor for Fairy Tail. Like they didn't hold that one up for long. I just realized is what I'm realizing.
I thought it was. I mean, like personally, I'm more interested in Gajeel like with that reveal in mind. Whereas like, because when he originally joined, you're obviously gonna wonder, well, okay, he seems a little sketchy because like he was a former antagonist, but that like he apparently has these connections with Makarov and they're like working together. That makes him like it makes me more interested in his character going forward, because now we know he isn't secretly looking to double cross them, or maybe he's a quadruple agent, who knows. But like I don't know. Like, it makes me more interested because, like, he was willing to join Fairy Tail after, like, attacking them before, and now he's, like, working with them. Even though, like, when he originally joined, he said, like, oh, I'm not in this for Fairy Tail. I'm just trying to get jobs and whatever. So, like, he's less independent than he made himself out to be within the context of the guild. And so I see room for a character arc there, and there could be more cool... Maybe we can see him do another song again, and that'd be...
Yeah, that would be great. I guess it also retroactively makes more sense as to why he's even in the guild, because, like, oh, yeah, Makarov, like, he's the double agent. Of course Makarov would, like, vouch for him, or, you know, try and, like, oh, let's just move on for, like, something that happened off screen, obviously, or, you know, maybe never happened, because I'm making it up right now. But it's, like, it makes more sense as to why, like, this character specifically, you know? Like, because, like I said, like I pointed out, he was, like... I think, like, Arya and Master Jose were definitely worse. The one Earth guy was kind of, like, a bit of a dick, but, like, Gajeel, like he's fucking tormented Lucy, so it's like he's not, Juvia was fine. She just was doing her job, and she had a fight with Gray. Like she did nothing, pretty much little wrong. So yeah. But anyway, Natsu's pissed because Laxus got kicked out.
Because Natsu wants to fight him.
The Makarov almost, yeah, right. Makarov almost stepped down, but there's no one to really replace him. So, yep. Now, like, see, now the Raijin tribe is basically sort of like freed of Laxus, so they're freed. Freed shaved his head. But yeah, like, yeah, so they're both like, yeah, so Laxus is on his own to find his, and these guys are more like, I don't know how they joined the guild or why, or if that ever comes up, but it's like, now they're incorporating themselves in the guild, like you mentioned, like, oh, these characters are apparently around the whole time, or part of the guild, but now it's only now are they in like the background and stuff, like hanging out with the actual guild members, like only now are they really part of the guild. So here's the second boat scene I was mentioning, where she's like, or the guys are like, Lucy, that's dangerous, and take care on your way home. Like, they're just being bros. So that's nice. And then she has the scene with her dad, who grew a beard very quickly, or maybe just more time has passed than I thought.
Yeah, because he had the short, slick back hair and like the mustache, and now he's got like a full-on beard and like really long hair. Right?
Like, how much time has passed over the course of these 2 arcs? Like Tower of Heaven and the festival. Like, the festival took like a week. So that's a fast beard. I mean, maybe it's stress hair growing instead of stress hair losing. I don't know, because he had a rough time period where, he's selling off everything, personal, belongings, and he tries to be, he's like a piece of shit where it's like, I'm your father, give me money, you're my daughter, and fucking garbage piece of shit. But then, oh no, the guild he was going to is in danger, so Lucy goes to save it and stop, and she has a fight thing, and she's cool.
Yeah, it almost seemed like this was gonna be set up for like an arc again. Like, anytime Lucy does something with her father, it's like, oh, is this a setup for an ongoing arc? But no, she actually it's just like took out the guild herself, which was, or not the guild, whatever the heck they were. And
yeah, the Robert. Well, yeah.
And I mean, like, it was set up for the next arc in that like a character was involved with it.
Yeah, the guy with the big ears shows up later with because he's like a minion of the mummy guild that was under Oracion Seis that was helping out. Yeah,
and that does there was, I guess, also like a bit of lead up to this arc, because the other brother, he had gotten beaten up by Laxus in
the beginning of this arc.
Yeah, was it the beginning of the Laxus arc? Right, he got beaten up, and then it's like, oh no, I hope they don't show up. And it's like, who is they? Well, we find out later.
Yes, Oracion Seis. So
yeah.
But yeah, Lucy fights. I like how she ends it with just like, they're like, oh man, what cool magic is she gonna use next? And she just like fucking drop kicks him.
Yeah.
Or not drop kick. It's a regular kick. Lucy kick, excuse me, not a regular kick. But yeah, and then her father arrives, and they basically make up, because he's, he had some thinking time to realize how much of a piece of shit he was. And I like what he said about like how, like, he was, oh my god. You go ahead and share your thoughts, because I just had another thought. Or if you had any thoughts about this whole makeup scene and Lucy's name from the guild, Love and Lucy.
Yeah, because it was Lucky Love or whatever the name of the guild was, but it was missing. Yeah, Love, yes. It was missing the K, so it's like, oh, Lucy.
Yep. That was fine. But what I just realized is, like, Lucy's dad just had like a mini arc about sort of like what the arc Lucy's had like much earlier in the series, except instead of celestial spirits, it's money. He was reliant on money, and he came to his daughter begging for money, and then now, like, because she denied him, she forced him to focus on himself, and he made it. He walked the like for I forget how long it was, but he did it on his own power without money, and that gave him sort of hope that he could make it without having to rely on his daughter. So he apologizes. So he I just realized that the connection to Lucy's arc and similarity, which is oh man, that's funny. Yeah, but it worked. I don't know. Because the first scene with her, he being obligated to Lucy's money because he like, fuck off, dude, holy shit. But now it's like, okay, that's fine. He calmed down, So, yep. There was fine little like in between arc like with Lucy. Anyway, one more.
Then we get to Craftsdwarf's favorite arc.
Oh god.
And speaking of more self-reference, Oracion Seis is back.
Yes, all 8 members of Oracion Seis. Oh god. But he explained it in one of the afterword things where it's like, that was just like a working title until he came up with their actual name, but then it just ended up sticking. Well, especially when he made like 6, like, oh, there's just these 6 members, they're really strong. And so it's like, yeah, I guess. And then now with Eden Zero, there's Oracion Seis is back.
Oh my goodness,
so I don't know anything about him. He's still going with the, like, it's become a thing, like he's got to have Oracion Seis now in all of his works because he did it twice, so therefore he's got to do it a third time, right? Also, we get a brief scene with Ultir, who, like, because now it's like, we get the names of all the Dark Guilds. Like, there's Tartaros, who we know nothing about. There's Oracion Seis, which gets dealt with in this arc, obviously. And then there's Grimoire Heart, which Ultir and her guildmaster Hades are a part of. So we get a little tease of them. So they're looking for the keys to the seal, I suppose is what they said. To remove the seal on Zeref, that was it. Which they got somehow relating to the events of the Tower of Heaven arc. So more build up to like future things.
So in the Phantom Lord arc, was Fairy Tail just referred to as like one of the top guilds in the whatever country nation thing they are?
Yes, the country, or I think the nation. I don't know.
Okay.
I forget exactly what it's called. Fior or Magnolia? No, Magnolia is the city. I get fantasy names mixed up sometimes, but yeah.
Okay, because like, for a moment I was like, wait, if they're the strongest guild, then like, oh, here are these other guilds that existed all along that are actually stronger. But if it was only like in the country, that makes more sense.
Well, no, these are dark guilds. They kind of don't count. And or you talk about like Blue Pegasus or whatever, like because those are other guilds that aren't considered as strong, like.
I meant more like Oracion Seis and stuff, but yeah, I guess dark guilds.
They're dark guilds. Yeah, they're illegal. They're not supposed to exist, so they wouldn't really get counted. And Fairy Tail's stronger than. Well, I don't know. Well, see, that's the thing, because it's like Lamia Scale and Blue Pegasus are presumably sending some of their best members, But like with Fairy Tail, it's like Urza is like if Fairy Tail sent its best members, it would be like Gildarts, Makarov, Urza. Mystagon and Laxus are kind of out of commission right now. But Mira Jane, like those would be their 4 if they were actually going to send their like actual strongest members. And if remove Makarov because he's old or whatever, I don't know who you'd replace him with, Natsu or Gray or someone. But it's like they're really strong. Okay. So it's like, yeah, they're not like they're not using their full capabilities in this arc with the members they send. So but anyway, yeah, they come up to counter an alliance of dark guilds. They're gonna use an alliance of light guilds, I guess, and we get introduced to everyone else, like the Blue Pegasus guys and Ichiya, the weirdo.
We get some returning characters. Oh, yeah. I think it was wasn't it during the parade with the Laxus stuff where we saw like these characters were back, and then there were like Urza's pals. They were in the crowd.
Yeah, well, I definitely remember seeing the not Simon. He's the one who wasn't there, but the fucking Wally and Sho and Miliana the cat, like the side characters from the Tower of Heaven arc.
Yeah.
They were definitely in the crowd.
Yeah, and then like
I forget who else was there.
Gray's people, like it was
so these guys were
his name, the guy,
the Lame Scale guys,
and then his crew. Like there was the cat person. Oh no, wait, was that the different? Yeah. I don't know.
No, you're right. Toby and fucking Yuka and Leon and Sherry probably. So okay, yeah, I didn't see them actually. But it makes sense that they'd be there because he's again Mashima's doing the like, look, all the characters showing up. And here they are again. Leon's Lamia Scales entering with only 3 people, including Jura. Actually, did get mentioned a while ago. I forget if it was during Galuna Island or after that, but the Jura was mentioned as like being a strong mage. So because he's mentioned as one of the 10 wizard saints who's like up. So he considers himself the weakest, but he's supposedly up there with like Jose and Makarov. So, and Urza, even though Urza's not a wizard saint, but she's as strong as one. So, and then we get Wendy, who's like the other dragon slayer. But yeah, the alliance has started, but they're all like, see, I guess that's kind of, I guess one aspect of the arc, sort of like, because they're not unified. Like they keep arguing with each other and stuff. Like, and with Fairy Tail, they're kind of used to it, but like they keep getting competitive and stuff, and they get like fucked over for it. I guess is what's supposed to be happening. Like there's supposed to be a 16 strong alliance, 4 guilds, 4 people, but they're only 12 strong because the cat guild only has 1 person anyway. But I don't know. This arc hasn't gotten stupid yet. It's just starting. I don't know if I'd call the whole arc stupid, but there's just a lot of little like we in the afterwards with Lucy and Mira Jane answering questions. Like there was a lot of like complaint, like plot hole kind of complaints more than normal. I think. Like some I never even realized or noticed myself. Like you posted the fucking great one of like, Nirvana had 8 legs before, but now it has 6, and Mara Jane and Lucy are just like ellipses, like don't think about it. Don't like Mashima is doing that himself. Like he stole our meme before we used it, or just don't think about it.
I can't believe we ripped off Mashima. The Nen Show.
True.
Creatively bankrupt.
Oh, and speaking of I don't know if you probably wouldn't have noticed, but in one of the cover pages, like what chapter is it? It was the chapter for 122. Keep in mind, Oracion's like you can see Jemmy and Minnie on like the cover page, like 11 chapters before they show up in the series, with Angel using them to attack Jura by pretending to be Ichiya. So I was like, why are they on the cover? Like, I don't know why he spoiled that the design. I mean, obviously, like before, without the context, they're just these little imp things. But I just remember noticing that when I first reread the series back in 2017 or so, I think, give or take, I forget when. But it's like, I don't know, it's just a weird like Easter egg thing before they actually show up in the series. So because it's weird for him to show something that he hasn't shown yet, especially when he's like, he doesn't plan as well, or as much, so I don't know. But anyway, Angel takes out like 2 of the stronger guild members from Blue Pegasus and Lamia Scale.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I felt about this development early on, because like you had not even the full Oracion Seis show up and like just wipe the floor with our entire team we've got here.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat, like that.
Man. Yeah, no, because it's like, I guess the whole the idea is also. Did you not notice the hot eyes? His design. He's holding a book. He's a bit top heavy and roundish. No, okay, you didn't know. He looks a little like Bartholomew Kuma, like shape wise.
Oh.
And yeah, okay. See, it's funny that you're not noticing the One Piece things that people point at and say, look, it's ripping off One Piece. Look, Cobra has no nose and he's a snake. He's ripping off Harry Potter. He's Voldemort.
Yes, I remember. I remember when Voldemort had hair.
But But yeah, like I don't know what the deal with the book is with either Kuma or Hot Eyes, but with Hot Eyes it like shows up for maybe like one panel and then never again. It like goes away. So what? Why? I don't know. But yeah, like I guess the thing is that the teams aren't unified, so they get wrecked by the Oracion Seis, who are working together. Even though I don't know. This arc, I didn't get much out of it thematically. So I needless to say, I am a sad camper. I tried. But they basically get wrecked like immediately. Urza gets poisoned, and they pretty much stop because Brain sees Wendy and kidnaps her. And then Jirai and Ichigo come back, but yeah, it's like things happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it felt kind of weird because like Mashima was setting up this thing like we got to go take down Oracion Seis, and then all of a sudden it's just boom, they're all here, and boom, everybody's down, and like
yeah, it happens pretty fast. Well, because then like I guess they were attacking Oracion Seis' territory, and they would obviously notice the intrusion. Because otherwise it's weird that they just like happen to like know that they're being attacked somehow and like immediately respond before like is it I don't know that was just another plot thing I had thought of a while ago and just
I don't know, maybe I just would have been more interested in like an invasion what's the word, like you sneak into the base and then like take them on,
a sneak attack. That would be yes. And that's the thing, if they like, because they weren't even really like, I don't know if they were trying to do a sneak attack, but like I said, they were immediately discovered, they got sneak attacked, even though like they're supposed to be on the offensive, so I see what you mean, and that's something like
it kind of like changes the trajectory of the arc. Because it does feel because they go on the well, I mean, even then like they're not really, because then they have to infiltrate their place anyway, and they go on the attack. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I guess I guess Wendy had to be captured so that the Jalal stuff could happen, because she had awakened him, because a fourth Jalal. No, he's the one from before. But what if he was a fourth Jalal? No, I don't know. How many Jalals can this series hold?
Yeah, I guess my sort of like complaints about Jalal in the last part don't really hold up anymore, because like there is more to expand on with him. Even though that was more just like that was where I thought the arc might have gone back then, but
I could see that some initial because what Jalal gets written out, and then we have new Jalal, and you're like, okay, what? But now here's old Jalal again. So to get more expanded, because he's still around, he's in prison, but he's around by the end of this arc. So it's like, we're probably gonna see more of him. So and maybe we'll see more of other Jalal Mystagons. So who knows? Maybe even in the same arc, double Jalal combo. Oh god. But anyway, they split up to try and find Wendy, because they're going to use her to heal Urza so that they don't have to cut off Urza's arm. Wendy is sort of made to heal Jalal. And I didn't notice this until pointed out in like the post, the question and answer thing, but it's like, because Racer got the coffin for Jalal, and Brain's like, man, you're fast, Racer, but that's not how his powers work at all. So he's just like so he just picked up the coffin and ran it like a normal fucking person. Like, no one, like, if it was far enough away, then it's like an area of effect power, so it wouldn't have affected Brain and made him
Can he like slow down his environment? No, but it doesn't work.
The opposite.
He can't like slow down time. Oh, well, no, I didn't even think about that.
Even specifies like it deliberate, like, because someone also asked like, wouldn't Racer have been able to slow down Gray's arrow when it entered the area of effects? But he's like, no, it slows down the perception of people, not like objects.
Yeah,
which also doesn't make sense, because that would mean like, wouldn't Gray see his magic going? Okay, I'm just gonna go at it now, because Racer's like the first fight anyway. his powers are the stupidest and worst I've seen ever. Like, they just make no sense at all and are completely stupid and contradictory. Like, not that there was much to take from the fight anyway, aside from, like, Leon and Gray, like, working together, you know, forming unity in these, you know, separate groups, I guess, against Racer. And I do like the sort of, like, I like the idea of their powers, like, countering his, because, like, that Gray stops him twice, and Racer's like, I've never been stopped before. But, like, Racer, he's just, like, see, like... because I guess he doesn't slow down magic, but he does. Wouldn't Gray have been seeing his powers go in super speed? Did he not notice? I guess maybe, like, because everything else would have been faster except for him. I don't understand.
It's one of those, like, don't.
Why does Racer summon? He summons motorcycles. He gives, like, does Racer's motorcycle go faster? Is Gray's motorcycle slowed down? What? Why would he give the opponent something to make them go faster if his power is slowing them
Yeah, no, these are all things that, like, I just didn't think about, and now that you're, like, pointing them out, I'm like, oh no.
Racer's powers are so stupid.
Because I know, like, at the time that it was, like, first revealed that, like, no, he just slows things down, I was like, okay, that seems like... Because he was built up as being fast, and it's like, no, it's actually the opposite, which...
And that's... I feel like up until that chapter, his power was probably going fast, and then Mashima was like, I want to make a twist. I need to figure out how to actually beat this guy. Even though I feel like it was kind of already there, because it's like... I mentioned this in my first video where I talked about Fairy Tail, the Rising Stakes one, because I liked how... Like, I love how One Piece sort of builds up its arc of power creep, where it's like... You know, Luffy's, like, dicking around in the East Blue up till Crocodile, and then he actually has to take things seriously. And then what happens after Crocodile? You get Luffy beating up a stronger Eneru, an opponent who's stronger than him, but he has a counter to. And then Foxy, an opponent who's weaker than him, but counters him. So, and I thought that was interesting. And Fairy Tail kind of does that. It has, like, Yuka, who has the anti-magic, so he's a weaker opponent, but Natsu has to come up with a creative way to beat him. And here you have Oracion Seis. These guys who are supposed to be strong, so it's like, if you wanted to follow that same arc, you would give them powers that the Fairy Tail characters, like, counteract. And Racer was a perfect example, except his powers make no sense. So, instead of getting, like, the moment, and then everyone else just, like, wins their fights because they're just really strong mages, you know. And I'm not gonna, like, complain about the power scaling. Like, I can't, like, it's, you know, it's weird, but I don't think it's like it gets weirder later. But I think for now it's like, yeah, these are strong mages, but Fairy Tail's alls they've been built up as, like, already, like, really strong S-class mages as is. So I don't think it's egregious particularly yet within the context of what we read. But I don't know. I just every time I try to, like, rationalize, like, Racer's powers, I just realize how fucking stupid and nonsense they are. Like, I bitched about Naruto's power system a lot, but Racer's power is just fucking dumb. Because I think it was trying to be surprising. Like, look, I made a twist. I did the twist, but no, it just doesn't make any sense. Sorry, Mashima. You tried. It doesn't work. So yeah, I got that out of my system. It's like, again, it doesn't matter. It's me, you know, just bitching about weird things that I think about that don't matter a lot. But, like, it's just a lot of shit that's just so stupid that I can't contain myself again. So, Gray and Leon win. That happens.
But then...
Oh, that's right. Leon set the sacrifice. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because the guy's like, I'm going to take you down with me. And then the big explosion. But actually, no. He survived.
Leon just shows up later and he's like...
It doesn't help that, like, Mashima does... For whatever reason, like, with Fairy Tail, characters don't seem to, like, wear as much damage as, like, characters in Rave would have, like,
it's not as
certain kind of, like, injuries you could tell that, like, oh, there was damage done here. Whereas this, it's more like they just get kind of scuffed up and bloody a bit, but even then it's, like, faded blood.
Not intense, yeah, not as intense as I've seen in, even, I think Rave had some.
So, like, supposedly he just survives this point-blank explosion. I don't know how, what did... Because we see the explosion happen, so it's not like he could have blocked it with powers or anything. And it's never addressed.
One of the best parts.
He's just like, don't go killing me off.
Yeah, because no, that's the thing. It doesn't get addressed at all.
It's not even like...
But Racer also lived. Racer lived. We don't see it this arc, but he shows up later. Racer lived.
I was going to say, I figured if if this guy lived, then Racer's probably still alive. Because, like, none of the...
It never gets explained. He just shows up again.
None of the other characters, like, had... Like, none of the other Oracion Seis members died. So it would have made... Like, I could see Mashima having him survive, but at the same time, like, the way it's done... He tried to, like, so suicide bomb, but it didn't...
It's fun. See, and this is actually one of the moments the anime does much better, because, like... It shows, we see a scene of, like, I forget how it happened, but we see how Leon not only survived, but I think he, like, ripped the bomb off and maybe used ice to block it or something, so the bomb exploded. And because when he shows up later on with Gray and Sherry in the anime, he's dragging unconscious Racer behind him. So it's like, not only do we see that he's alive and get an explanation as to why, but we see that Racer's alive in the arc instead of, like, just seeing him show up again I don't know how many fucking chapters later. And so that's another of the instances that the anime fixes, and so I appreciate it for that. But it's just like, they shouldn't need to fix it. Oh god. I completely forgot about it because it just doesn't matter. It's Sherry, because there's the whole thing with Nirvana, and it turns the latent darkness into light, or the latent light into darkness, or something, or whatever. Or no, it brings out the latent. That's right. It doesn't change it, but it brings it out. And so Sherry's like, she was grieving over Leon, so she gets pissed, and she tries to kill Gray, but fails, he's completely fine somehow, and then she tries to attack Anatsu and Lucy, but Leon comes back, and he's like, I'm perfectly fine. And it's like, okay. This arc. So anyway, Jalal, in his memories, he finds Nirvana. He awakens it, so he's planning to destroy it. And you also get a Hot Eyes, his heel face turn. I just realized I can make I know the term from TV tropes, but you actually know the wrestling, so I can say that. Yeah, because you kind of get the fairy tale's weird kind of like, oh, if you had good intentions, doing bad things doesn't matter, because it's like, he wanted money to try and find his brother, so he joined a dark guild, and but no, since his intentions was good, he wanted to find his brother, then he became good and positive, and yeah, I guess so. Maybe in its own context, maybe it's fine, but in the, like, again, the issue, like, we've had issues with the characters getting off scot-free when maybe they should have been punished more.
I don't think he got off scot-free, because didn't he get arrested at the end?
No, in this case, yeah, he did get arrested, but it's like, I guess my thing is with the reasoning, like, I mean, what do we don't see him do anything bad. He, like, literally all he's done up to this point in this arc is, like, he attacked the light guilds, and then he never shuts up about money, and then, but he had the money for a good reason. So I just thought about how it's like the ways it's in line with Mashima's general, like, sense of morality, where, again, like, good intent supersedes bad deeds up to a point. But yeah, he does get arrested at the end. Because I did also have an issue with the Jalal scene before, but I think it's more fine now. We get the next fights, because that's fairy tale. It's the action shonen. What's the action shonen without action? Lucy versus Angel. That was a fight. Celestial Spirit. I think. No, never mind. Duke Everloo did have Virgo, but this is the first Celestial Spirit Wizard battle where both sides have had multiple spirits. Like, we got the reveal of Aquarius's boyfriend, so that happened. Did you have any thoughts on the fight?
I felt like there was something I was gonna say, but I don't remember what it was.
I mean, obviously there's the contrast with Angel being a piece of shit and seeing her, like, I mean, it's mentioned that she killed Karen, and she is kind of like a reflection on Karen, where she's like kind of similar, where she treats special spirits like tools, obviously, but Lucy loves the spirits, and that sort of like, that allows her to win, because for a few reasons. Gemini stays its hand and doesn't do anything to Lucy. The dude Hibiki, Hibiki, he's because he was about to possibly fall to Nirvana, because he I guess, he says he's Karen's lover. I have no reason to accept that as false, but at the same time, the guys are like idiots. So I'm like, did he just like Karen and is saying that? But like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm supposed to take for sure, because these characters are so dumb.
Well, didn't we also see like in the flashback with that character, like she would have like guys coming after her, and so like that's what she would like use her spirits
he one
for.
Of the guys?
So he might have been. I don't know if he was actually like in the panel.
See, I never thought to look back actually, because they were
But he could have always been like one of that crowd. So like when he says like, "Oh no, she was," maybe it was like he was just one of the people.
Yeah, well, because I mean that happened with Bora and Juvia. Remember, where we see the guy from the first chapter. You know, he was the guy who said like, "Oh, it's rainy all the time. I don't like being with you, Juvia." So it's like that's something Mashima. You know, that would be like the inverse, I guess, where it's a character. He's taking it as I don't know. I'd have to check back and see, but yeah, well, yeah, he was about to turn from Nirvana because of Nirvana, but Lucy's love of celestial spirits kept him in the light, and so he uses his magic to give Lucy a spell to win, basically. Love for celestial spirits and stuff, you know, kind of hammering that home more, I guess.
It was interesting that he just like has this power to just like download stuff into people's brains, which is
like he's kind of using it as telepathy to like download and upload information of like what people are saying or thinking. Mm-hmm. So and then he uses that. It's weird that it's like a one-time thing. Like I don't know. I guess it's just like a limiter on it.
Seems like a pretty useful power to have, but it's just this side character has it. It's just
like. Why is it like only a one-time thing? It just is because Mashima needed a limiter on it. So like, why can't you just do this all the time? So whatever.
There was also maybe like a weird little conceit for this fight, like how Natsu gets put on the raft and like no one thinks to just destroy the raft that he's on to like fix him.
I mean, he can swim, right? It's not like he's a devil fruit user or anything. But that happens.
I mean, like I get it. Like it's a reason to put Natsu out of the fight, so Lucy can do her thing. And then I guess like the raft also becomes relevant later because it like pushes them away from the group and gets them to the next thing. But at the same time, it's like in universe, why didn't one of the characters just try to break the raft until like the very end? Lucy tries to do it, and I guess she gets stopped. But like even if she just like made the effort and then like the character blocked her or something, so it's like no, you must fight me. There just like wasn't even an attempt, which just it's a little weird. It's not like a big thing, but it's just eh.
Yeah, I know. Like I understand that, like because it's like we just keep bringing up plot holes because this arc seems to be bad about them, but it's like. I mentioned this in... Did I mention this last time? Because I did a side channel video where I talk about, like... I thought I just had some thoughts regarding Young Justice because, like, plot-wise, it's very, like, solid. Like, the character actions generally make sense and, you know, why things are happening when, you know, the little less... There's less contrivance or coincidence and stuff. If any, I don't remember anything particularly egregious, except, like, one moment where they don't tell the mind reader about the double agent plot and it causes problems, but it was interesting. But I was comparing, and I like kind of realized while talking about it, where it's like when you're looking for plot holes and stuff, you're looking for the contradiction, so it's more negatively inclined, you know. But if you're focusing on thematic elements, you're looking for the connect. Like there still can be contradiction, and you want to pay attention to that when it happens. But you're looking for the connections, the similarities, the contrasts. Like just earlier, I had the thought about Lucy's dad, where he went through a similar arc to Lucy in the beginning of the series, where just with money and celestial spirits. That's a connection, not a contradiction. So I guess that's why I personally prefer the thematic analysis because it's more positive focused in that way. So because once you start looking for plot holes, you can never stop. And I feel like you can nitpick anything to death, you know? So you said it didn't matter, and we agree, like, plot holes generally don't matter. In this case, we're only bringing them up because they personally bugged us. It's not like, you can argue that Fairy Tail is the worst plot-focused story because it has, especially this fucking arc, like, with Racer's powers, with Nirvana losing legs, the characters acting in weird ways, or just, it's just stuff like that. It's just, like... It's dumb, but it's like, you know, does that interrupt the meaning? Maybe, because I didn't notice a lot of meaning in this arc, personally. Because I do try to find that connection or those connections, and regarding this arc, like, there were mentions of guilt, which I'm about to bring up because we got a scene about that coming up. But overall, it's like I noticed more about like almost every other arc up to this point, even some of the shorter ones. So not only is this arc a complete fucking mess plot-wise, it's also not super interesting thematically. So without enough themes to focus on, I'm just focused more on the plot because that's all that's left, and it's also kind of fucked. So like I don't know how much planning Mashima put into this arc. Probably not a lot, but like compared to like the fighting festival, the fairy festival, which was also off the cuff, like that one was much more like solid overall, I'd say. I did not care for Oracion Seis. Like I definitely don't dislike it as much. I'd say like it doesn't like Racer's bullshit is dumb, and like thinking about it makes me mad, but that's my fault. Like I can't think of anything else that like makes me angry about this arc. Whereas before I was angry about everything Fairy Tail. So, oh, we get a flashback with Wendy thinking about Jalal, and when she met a much younger Jalal who ran off when he heard something about anima. We get no follow up to that in this arc. We do get the Urza Jalal scene, and he's got memory loss. Yay, our favorite trope.
See, when I got to this, I was like, oh, is this maybe where Craftsdwarf's, like, feelings on the whole memory loss, mind control trope come from, or partially influenced by?
I definitely complained about that a lot. Now I care about it less, or, like, I have less issues with it, because it's, like I don't mind the whole Urza Jalal, like, kind of interaction they have here, because he's, like he, he doesn't even remember what's happened, but he's, like, I caused you pain, so I'm going to, he's like he even says, you are free, like, directly, like, calling back to that arc, even though he doesn't remember it. The heaven, and then, but Urza wants him to live with the guilt. And this kind of actually that's what I wanted to mention earlier. That's right, because I mentioned the comments about sacrifice and how was it Karabe? I hope I didn't delete, or I think I deleted the comments, the list of that I had. But he mentioned how characters would use sacrifice as a way to sort of run from the mistakes they made, the mistakes they were guilty over. So here you have Jalal doing the same thing, but Urza, who also made that mistake and realized the pain she was causing in like the whole funeral sequence, like she's so here she is kind of expressing some of her the change to her character, where she's like, no, don't die for your guilt, live for your guilt. And so I like the scene because that's the thing. Jalal doesn't even know what he's done wrong, but he's like, I hurt this girl, and so that's wrong, and so I'm gonna die for that. So it is kind of like, I guess it's because he's like we saw Kid Jalal. He was a nice guy, so I guess some of that personality is still shining through his lack of memories or something.
No, yeah, I did like the interaction with Urza, where the whole live with the guilt thing, like you can't just forget everything that you did because like you hurt people and stuff.
Yeah, like atone for if you're guilty about it, atone for your crimes. Don't run from them. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was nice. And but anyway, that also allows for Nirvana to wake up. The big old spider castle boy. With the mysterious magically number changing legs. Because it's obvious why that happened, because they needed the 6 orb things, so everyone could come in and do something, but yeah, that's just another thing it came up with on the fly. Did you have any thoughts on the Natsu versus Cobra fight? Because that was a fight.
No, not really. I mean, it was a fight, and there was the poison versus the fire, and Happy's flying around. So I guess that was kind of neat. Happy finally gets to do something.
And I guess that's true, because you're right. I'm thinking that Mashima even said things I've forgotten, and it's Happy, and it's shit. Or top 5 things I forgot. Oh, and the number 1 was the faces and names of people he meets or something like that. And because you're right. Yeah, you did give Happy a little thing.
But also at the same time, Happy not doing anything really isn't a negative for Fairy Tail, because I don't really care about the mascot character.
Fair enough.
But I mean, it's not like him being included is like actively a negative for Oracion Seis.
Right.
No, this arc has enough flaws as it is. Ha ha ha. I mean, I feel like maybe someone could say something about like the way the fight ends, where Natsu just like screams really loudly and he wins. I don't really know how I feel about that. Like I'm just kind of indifferent.
He's just Uvogin. It's Togashi ripping off Mashima ripping off Togashi. Because I mean, well, I liked it better when Uvogin did it because I hate those assassin guys. Like their powers suck, their designs suck. The fact that they explain their powers also sucks, and then they get brutally murdered. But I'll talk about that later when we get to Hunter x Hunter. So Cobra's just kind of there, and then Natsu he yells. He does a dragon roar. And yeah, people complain about it, like apparently in letters and stuff. Like some people were not happy about it in Japan either. Reading
because I thought it was a thing that Mashima brought up, like in his little question section. I thought there was a question about it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually kind of weird that now I think about it, because it's like, because Gon also did it against like the owl chimera ant, right? He didn't defeat him with that, but he used a loud noise against something with like to shock something.
Well, yeah,
like,
because the character like couldn't see and it relied on sound,
hearing.
And so like that disoriented them.
Or it was a bat,
and then it was like another attack like followed it up.
Right. And there's also in Naruto with Kiba and his good sense of smell. So it's like, it's interesting that you have these instances of characters, like they use the sensory thing, but not to win. They use it to distract or stun, and then follow up with an actual thing. And here you have Natsu literally winning with it, and people were not dissatisfied with that. So I don't know. That's or maybe people were dissatisfied. I know what fucking hates the Kiba thing, because it's specifically because it has to do with farts. The Gon one was fine, I think. I mean, it's
and I guess you could also
I don't remember
say
anything else about
that,
the
like,
fight.
With the Naruto thing, it was like an accident. It wasn't like strategic. It just kind of happened.
Yes.
So, and then like with Natsu,
one of
like
our issues with it,
him screaming, he's like, "Oh yeah, just because you could predict my plans, I came up with another plan," and he obviously it was like it just happened.
Yeah.
So
I like but so, what did you think about Natsu like not thinking? Like that was I mean
I think that I can't think of another, like I think there's another story where a character does that, where they just like don't think and they fight. Does Luffy do that at one
Goku point? Luffy did, but he couldn't fight. He could instinctually dodge, but he did. It was like Gum Gum no Baka or something like that. And where he just had the stupid face, but he could only stand there. Like he had to actively think in order to fight. So he could, but he tried it, is what I'm trying to say. So I guess Luffy's smarter than Natsu because he has to actually think when he fights normally. Even where Natsu, he can just do normal things without thinking. So, and I don't know. Are we now in intellect scaling? God damn it.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I didn't have any super huge problems with the fight as a whole, but at the same time, like, there wasn't much for me to get invested in. So maybe it's a problem that I'm not upset about this stuff because I didn't care. Like I said, I'm indifferent. Like, so that's like,
well, like, yeah, I also don't care. Like, there's no, like, it's a fight, but there's no, like, what's the conflict here? You have two Dragon Slayers. One is. Like that's the thing, that like they're kind of just on the same level and Natsu just wins. Like, I wonder if going back to the plot thematic thing, like what is there here thematically? Like they're basically identical, except Natsu's just a little like smarter battle tactics wise, I guess. Like, because the other thing is like, yeah, you could say, oh yeah, Natsu is fighting with Happy, his friend. But so is Cobra. Like, we find out after the fight, he gets, like, backstabbed by Brain, and what does he want? He wants to be able to, like, talk to his only friend, his snake. So it's like, I guess that justifies becoming a Dark Guild, like, elite member, or whatever. I don't know. But it's like, I don't know, like, thematically there's not much going on. Plot-wise, it's also like, I don't know, like, Natsu's not thinking, and then he yells, and that's it. Like, okay, sure, so, I don't know. I think I was going with somewhere with that, but I forgot, so I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being born stupid. I think that was a quote from something, but I don't know what. Anyway. But yeah, it's like, yeah, there's not much to get invested in, so that's fair. So anyway, yeah, they fall back to the Nirvana. Cobra gets backstabbed. See, I had the thought of like, I guess one thing this arc could have done, focused on more if it was going to go that route, but it's like, because it's about like darkness and light, but obviously like, in reality, like, those are just concepts, and no one is really like pure dark or pure light. And like, because you had Cobra like think about a friend, so there's, it wasn't enough light in him to become, Nirvana, or to become affected by Nirvana, but it's still like some bit of light in it. And Brain like took him out for that, or not for that, but he took him out because he lost actually. So never mind. But it's like, yeah, they didn't focus on that. And like, because earlier they contrasted like Natsu was angry, and so was Sherry. Like Sherry was pissed off because Leon died, and she was like blaming Fairy Tail for not helping enough. And Natsu was pissed off because his friends were in danger, and they like sort of divided it by like, Natsu's anger was well-intentioned, like it was for the sake of someone else, while Sherry's anger was for the sake of herself and the person she was, she liked. So, that's why she fell and Natsu didn't. So, I don't know, if they were going to do like contrasting stuff, then maybe like focusing on the quote-unquote darkness in the good character, in the heroic characters might have been more prevalent. But like what is Natsu's inner darkness? I have no idea. We don't see anything of like that. So... Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Just a thought I had, because like that's Hot Eyes obviously changed. Cobra had a little bit of good in him. Angel was a piece of shit. Midnight didn't really have much going on, so it's like it's just nothing. It's just like I guess something that could have happened but didn't. So very sad. But anyway, Jura beats up Brain. Who's not actually hot shit after all. Oh, excuse me. We get a cut to the Kate I don't know, cat shelter, I don't know. And they're freaking out about the incoming Nirvana, but no, they get to atone for their sins or whatever. Brain sends a telepathic message so that they can he's trying to fire up the good guys, because I guess he knows what'll happen if Midnight gets taken out. And then we get another fight, more fighting. Yay, Urza and Jalal versus Midnight. That was a fight.
Okay, so I know you had brought up the townspeople in the Kate, whatever the heck, I don't even remember the name.
The cat shelter. Yeah. Kate shelter or cat shelter. Yeah.
That's another like weird thing to consider, considering what the reveal is later. Like,
oh yeah, they're
like, why are the characters talking to each other and establishing like these quirky if they're not real?
They're all that's the thing. He just made, because it's all one guy. He made these. He's arguing with himself. I didn't think about that.
So I mean, like, maybe just like. You could say like, oh, because he was putting on this facade for the girl, maybe he like some part.
It just became his kind of
his norm,
because he did it for a few years. So yeah, maybe I didn't think about that.
That's the only thing that I could like maybe like headcanon to justify it, because otherwise it's like, why? I don't get it.
Yeah,
if they're not real, they wouldn't be talking to each other.
Like Wendy's the only. It's just one, because Mashima did that last arc with the healer who's like, Makarov doesn't have much time left, but he was perfectly fine, where it's like, he's cutting away to give us information and like build tension and stuff, but then it's like, that ends up contradicting something, because with like, Makarov was obviously completely fine and like, he doesn't have much time left. Oh, let me just heal him. Oh, he's fine. What? With the old man, he's talking to himself. Why?
Yeah, I think another thing, because we're getting into this Midnight fight now, I just think, like, the antagonists for this arc are just, like, Fairy Tail, I have historically not been, like, super interested in the antagonists, but, like, I don't know, some of them are cool. The antagonists in this arc are just particularly underwhelming, like...
I think that's... correct. That's
I don't think.
Yeah, once you say it like that, I get it. Like, I mean, I think you're right.
I don't think that it helps that like, Brain is like the leader of this group, but actually no, Midnight's the strongest. But actually no, Brain has an alter ego who he has like a separate personality who's actually the leader.
Right.
And then there's like this
And
skull
the strongest is...
thing. The stick is a character.
I'm the 7th member of Oracion Seis. I'm going to tell you about the 8th one. Yeah, so it's like, not only are the antagonists like overwhelming from the start, or underwhelming from the start, but like, yeah, they keep getting replaced, and the replacements aren't interesting. Like, what does Zero add to like the conflict? Like, Brain was like super evil and had no light in him whatsoever. Zero was even crazier, I guess.
It's like it's just reveals
like,
after reveals, but instead of like building the tension, it just like keeps undercutting what was before. Like, it's
right, because like I said, nothing, like, yeah, because they don't, yeah, like, because I like when the antagonists contrast, like, Laxus had a good, like, aspects to what he offered to the conflict, like, fucking Jalal was fine, like, with the freedom thing, that was fine. Leon and Gray had their thing, like, the villains up to now, like, they've actually, like, Aragorn is also kind of weak. I think the answer is that dark guilds are shit. Because, like, Jalal wasn't in a dark guild, he was fine. Laxus was in Fairy Tail, Leon was allied with Lamia Scale, and but the dark guild guys, they're just, like, the cackling evil bad guys who are just evil. And so, like even Aragorn at least factored into, like, the friends thing. Like, Aragorn was better. Oracion Seis was just, like, they're just evil, except Hada. And I think that really works against the arc, because, like, the whole arc is about darkness and light, but it's, like, it's sadly kind of literal, which is just an interesting conflict, because it's like, what is darkness and light? It's just evil and good. What are evil and good? Abstract, arbitrary concept that we apply based on, morality and culture. Like, so it's like, okay, Mashima has these ideas of evil and good. So what? Like, we kind of got that just by seeing the rest of his manga, or even the earlier parts of this manga. So it's like, yeah, you're right. Oracion Seis as villains, like, sucks. Like yeah, and again, even if the other, like, I wouldn't say, like, oh yeah, Laxus, he's one of my favorite antagonists ever. No, but he's fine. He works for his arc to a degree. Like, I got things out of having him as an antagonist, and Oracion Seis is just like, delete them. They suck.
Just delete this arc. Nothing is lost.
Like at least, like, Angel's, I'd say, is technically the best one, if only because of, like, what, she contrast. Like, there's something to take from her fight, like, even if it's as simple and, more or less repeated stuff. I forget if there was anything unique. Oh, there was something unique I got out of it, because, like, Loki and Ares, when they fought, they're like, we're summoned by, like, they're kind of, like, trapped by their system, like, by how things are. They were summoned, therefore they should fight, even though they are also comrades, Like, they have an integrity that, come to think of it, Aquarius and Scorpio did not have. But, like, Lucy, like, as we saw in the Loki arc, if she doesn't agree with the system, she's going to fight it. And, so, there was a little something there that I noticed, but it's like, I didn't get shit out of the Nazi versus Cobra fight, and thinking about it more, they're very similar. They just accept Nazi just wins, so whatever. And yeah, the midnight fight, like, he does an illusion thing, and breaks the illusion, and okay, sure. And then, yeah, that's it. He midnight is bad. He laughs at pain, and Urza, she says that, like, oh, maybe you should be better. It doesn't. Oracion Seis sucks.
I'm especially disappointed about Midnight, because his character design, I think, is really cool. It's like super goth, and I like the multicolored hair, and I just like the general aesthetic. He's just a piece of cardboard in terms of characterization.
Yes, Midnight would have been your aesthetic character if he wasn't.
If he was a character, he's
boring.
just an aesthetic.
Yes, exactly. He's just an aesthetic. That's right. You don't have an aesthetic character from Fairy Tail yet, like you did. Like, at least even with Rave, even if Let's design changed, you still like that. And then Shuda, I think you liked from later. But Fairy Tail has had no aesthetic character, right? Yet?
Not yet. Possibly.
Midnight came close, except he wasn't a character, as you said. So
I don't know. Gajeel could maybe be it, because there's like another
Gajeel's
moment
cool,
later
yeah.
where, like, after after the arc ends and, like, the cats are around, he's like, ugh, we're all dragon slayers, so why don't I have a cat?
I do like that moment, yeah, because he's just so, like, envious of, like, the Sky Dragon Slayer has a cat, the Fire one has a cat. Where's my cat? Damn it! That was good. Gajeel is a good idiot. But anyway, so yeah, Zero trashes Gray, Lucy, and Natsu, and destroys the staff. So now there's 7 members of Oracion Seis, or unless you want to count Zero and Brain as the same, in which case there are actually 6 again. I don't know. Don't number your groups if you're gonna say that there were just more the whole time. Like, oh man. See, I guess actually now I think about it, this is an instance where like not whole like because he made the group Oracion Seis, but it's like if it was called anything else, I wouldn't have had this issue. I guess it's just it's a dumb little thing that I've had on my shoulder for fucking years, but it's just another just dumb plot hole I care about way too much. But anyway, they split up to go attack the 6 legs because there's 6 legs now. And Natsu and Zero have a fight. Jalal comes in and gives him the golden flame, which was totally a thing that was mentioned before. Good foreshadowing. Mashima, you're a genius. And he just like, I guess hearing the name made him remembered stuff, and like, I don't know. What am I supposed to take from this? Why? Hope? Okay. Sure. I don't. It's not great. It's not great. It's not. Did you have anything to think about this nothing of an arc?
I don't know. I got nothing. I don't have much of a takeaway from it. Like I'm trying here. Like I know I'm not super interested in Fairy Tail, but I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. And Oracion Seis just has nothing for me.
Oracion Seis is, like I said, it's my least favorite arc so far. Like I'm not. If anyone has like observations or something, like maybe again, I've honestly like we're at the, like maybe it's. I'm getting neater observations from the comments like that I'm able to come up with myself. For instance, like the stuff with Urza's armor. And the, like, you know, even if there's aspects of it that don't make sense, I'm getting from other comments, I still like the good elements to it, even if it's holistically it's not cohesive, you know. But this arc, it's like, where are the good elements? Please tell me, make some kind of connection that makes me go, oh, I appreciate that. Please, even if like, I don't want to dislike things, but they have to be worth liking. Like, if I'm going to spend my time on it, I'm going to try and appreciate it for what it does. But this arc is not doing anything. I'm sorry. I hope it is, but someone tell me why or how. Because, yeah, that's all. He's just like, the power of my friends. Gold flame that I got from an enemy. But somehow the power of my friends is coursing through. And then he wins. Okay. So, who cares? I don't care. Zero interest in this arc. That's why he called him Zero. But yeah, like Natsu, he fights, or maybe he says something else after the, because I realized the fight's still going on after he said the power of my friends. No, he just Dragon Slayer, the power of a dragon, and then he wins. Okay, whatever. And then they all blow up the legs at the same time, and yay, I guess. So anyway, yeah, Hot Eyes gets arrested. We find out that the brother he's looking for was Wally, because they're both squarey people. Top 10 anime plot twists. I don't know. But then they want Jalal too. I guess, like, because I think I complained about this before, because, like, why is Jalal getting special attention? But, like, Hot Eyes went willingly. Like, Juro was like, wait, no. And Hot Eyes like, no, it's fine. But here Jalal is hesitating. And so when, like, Urza's like... And that's the thing. They're not fighting for Jalal's sake. They're fighting for Urza's sake. Like, that... See, that... Once I realized that, like, this makes sense. Like, because, like, taking Jalal away will hurt Urza. Therefore, they must help Jalal for Urza. So, and of course, they fight for a bit, and Urza calms him down. And they take away Jalal. And he says, oh, Scarlet, the color of your hair. He gave her a last name because she didn't have one before. So that happened. And Urza's sad. She cries. Oh no. Are we done yet? No. So yeah, we get the twist with the Kate shelter. And they they had their guilt because they fucked up with Nirvana, so they watched it until it could get destroyed, and now it's destroyed. And Wendy has friends now, yay. And she goes to join Fairy Tail. See, like that's the thing, like, because I wonder if another reason this arc kind of fell flat for both of us, even more so than normal in your case, is like, because he's mentioned in that and afterwards where he's like the episode of where it's so like Tower of Heaven was episode of Urza, Tower of or Galuna was episode of Grey. There was Loki got an arc. Elfman got focus in Phantom Lord. Laxus just had the festival. This arc didn't focus on anyone. Like, it kind of had Jalal. Like, Wendy, this arc introduced Wendy, but what do we know about her? Like, she's cute.
We know that she has some sort of connection to Jalal.
Yeah, and she's a dragon slayer. But it's like, this arc didn't really explore her character at all, except, like, she was sad about Jalal. He was a friend. Now he left, and then she was alone, and now she has friends. Like, not a whole lot, which is like for an establishing arc. Like, imagine if like we did the Drum Island arc and didn't learn jack fucking shit about Chopper, and he just joins, and it's like, what? Excuse me? Like, no, the arc focused on Chopper, and Mashima's been doing it better thus far.
I mean, because like we do learn of, like, we don't really, like, we know she was in the village with one person and a bunch of mirages, but we don't know anything about, like, her experiences. Like, what did he teach her specifically? Like, we don't get any sort of like flashbacks or anything to like give context on anything.
I mean, like, I could see there being meaning to that. Like, maybe she was, with this like nothing guild for like years, so she is zero. She was zero the whole time. That would have been a twist. And but no, it's like, but yeah, no, it's nothing. It's just not much to speak of, and it's weirder still because I guess minor spoiler, but Wendy basically becomes like the fifth member of the team. She's like becomes the most important member of the guild after the main group. Like, and this is her establishing arc.
You telling me that is kind of weird because I would have expected her to just kind of become a background character. Right. Be one of the notable ones like Loki or Elfman, but no, she's much more important than that, even though I know more about Elfman from the Phantom Lord than I know about Wendy from Oracion Seis. I know more about Loki from his 3-chapter arc than I really know about Wendy. Yeah. She's just like a cute girl and a small, like, that's it. And it's like, and yeah, like, so I guess that's, like I said, another reason for the arc to fall flat is, like, the focal character didn't get a lot of focal. The villain sucked. It didn't make a lot of sense in plot ways. There wasn't a lot to grasp onto thematically. It's just like, the arc is 0. I give it a 0 out of 10. No, sorry, a 0 out of 6. Yeah, don't you mean there. A 0 out of 8? Oh, wait, I get it. Oracion... no, wait, never mind. No, I was going to make a joke Oracion Seis, 0, Seis 6. It's in the title of the arc.
Well, no, it still worked. Yeah, well, it still worked because there are 8 members of Oracion Seis, so that's what I thought you were referencing. Anyway, so we finish off with just a little tease to what's to come. Guild Arts... The strongest wizard in Fairy Tail is coming back, and then we find out about the strong higher levels of quests, and I guess like a decade quest is one that has not been completed in 10 years. So it's like someone put up the mission and then like no one succeeded in that long, and now Guild Arts is on what's a quest that no one has finished in over 100 years. So it's some tough shit, but we don't know much more than that because that's where the chapter ends, and we have we'll maybe see Guild Arts next time, or maybe they'll just hide his face for another 50 chapters. Oh man.
Oh no, is Guild Arts another Sieg?
Maybe. Anyway, so Oracion Seis is probably, you know what? Thinking about it, I think it's probably the worst arc we've read the entire Nen show, except maybe early Rave was at least more interesting in like the ways it was like clumsy and incompetent, but like, you know, like maybe there was more good. No, early Rave also had the Sieg arc that was actually kind of neat with Ellie, the Secret of Ellie arc. That so yeah, this is probably one of like the weakest arcs in the entire Nen show so far.
At the very least, I don't remember many like I don't know. Never mind.
Of the early ones, yeah, fair enough. Oh, the Dancing Thunder arc was weak with the actors and the. But anyway, Oracion, but those were early arcs from like a very novice artist. This is that same artist many years later, and it sucked. So anyway, I did like the festival at least. So and I know there's things to enjoy from later, but this is like I said, this is the arc that broke me. And after this point, I've said it's like there were arcs that started off and made me invested and then fell off for me. And I'm hoping to revisit those arcs and maybe have better things to say.
I don't know. I'm a little nervous because like there have been some comments that were saying downhill. Like, oh, when like in the previous episodes, like, oh, when I read Fairy Tail, like I remember enjoying these first few arcs, and you're like, well, I'm surprised you're so meh on it, and so I'm like, oh no, does that mean? No, this can't be the best. There has to be better.
Going downhill still. You haven't seen anything yet. No, like I said, I hope to enjoy what I can at the very least. So, I wish we didn't. Oh yes, I do want to talk about the schedule. So because this episode is, you'll notice it's a little later than normal. That's because I worked on Wednesday when normally we record on Wednesday. My schedule, I got a promotion, so my schedule will be changing, and thus the Nen Show schedule will probably be changing. I'll talk about it with Mathwiz later. We also have Anime Expo coming up, but we will not be doing a live. I was going to make a joke where it's like, oh, we should do a live Fairy Tail Nen Show at Anime Expo so we can see Mathwiz's soul leaving her body live as she reads more Fairy Tail. But
no.
But so how it's gonna work, because Anime Expo starts the week from 2 weeks from now, which would be the week we normally do an Nen Show. Obviously, we're not gonna be able to do it, so we're going to do the next arc next week, which is lucky because it's a shorter arc. It's basically like it's basically another arc, though the same length of the two we just did, but just we're only reading the one, which is chapter 166 to 199, and then. So the week after that, so you'll get an episode next week, then you'll get Anime Expo, or, well, we'll get Anime Expo, you guys will be at home. Then there will be a week after that where there will be no episode following the week of Anime Expo, and then the week after that will be basically the normally scheduled episode. So it's like, you get episode 1 week earlier than normal, and then you get the next episode after that when it would have been normally. So it's like, we're not changing our schedule, so we're still going to have 2 weeks in between. So... yeah, that's it that's the plan. And yes, expect after Anime Expo, expect the general upload schedule of the Nen Show to change. Like, not that it's been 100% consistent. I've been managing Thursdays, I think, to pretty decently. But and you know, this one's hopefully coming out on Friday. We'll see what happened. I haven't edited yet, obviously. But it might change after this because of, like I said, schedule. So thank you for listening. We are 1/3 of the way through. We're getting there. We're almost to Yu Yu Hakusho. Mathwiz. Yay!
The only reason to continue
something that's
living.
Not fair to. All right, so thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.